All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Look, if you are running a logistics company, a delivery startup, or, say, a fleet of taxis, you already know your survival hinges on one critical thing: seamlessly connecting supply with demand, right? Today, we're unpacking the digital heartbeat of that entire operation, the driver dispatch app. We're going to go way beyond just the basic tracking stuff to show you exactly why these tools are literally the ultimate key to scaling your business. So, here's our game plan for today. We'll start with the dispatch app imperative, move into traditional dispatch challenges, cover essential dispatch features, look at the connected dispatch ecosystem, and finally wrap up with delivering business impact. Now, we really need to stop thinking of a dispatch app as just some simple GPS tracking tool. You've got to think of it as a comprehensive digital workspace for your drivers. Just like your customers need an app to request a ride or a delivery, your drivers absolutely need a dedicated mobile interface to get the job done. We're talking about receiving automatic or manual ride requests, navigating precisely to the pickup, processing payments, rating passengers, and even tracking their own performance. It's the central nervous system of their day-to-day workflow. Because when you give them a workspace that has all these functions, you aren't just helping the driver out. You're basically guaranteeing a flawless experience for your end customer. So, you might be wondering, why make the hefty investment to transition from manual to digital? The short answer? Scale. As your transportation business grows, the sheer volume of moving parts, driver locations, traffic jams, sudden customer cancellations, payment processing, it becomes completely impossible for a human dispatcher to manage efficiently over a crackly radio or some messy spreadsheet. That brings us to traditional dispatch challenges, where we'll look at how the old ways of doing things quickly turn into severe operational liabilities. Honestly, relying on manual processes is a recipe for absolute chaos. Picture this. A dispatcher is frantically trying to reach a driver over a two-way radio to give them a pickup address, all while desperately scribbling on a fading sticky note. If that driver misses the call, the job is delayed, and your customer is left standing on the curb checking their watch. And don't even get me started on route inefficiencies. It is literally impossible for a human to calculate the absolute fastest path based on real-time traffic for a dozen drivers all at once. It just creates this massive bottleneck in your entire operation. The absolute crucial takeaway here is that without real-time tracking and automated assignments, your operational visibility is completely handicapped. You basically can't scale. Think about it. If you're struggling with coordination on a small scale, those headaches are going to multiply the second you add more vehicles to your fleet. Inefficient coordination means your drivers are spending more time just waiting around or driving empty, and that directly eats into your profitability, putting a hard ceiling on how much you can grow. Moving on to essential dispatch features. Let's look at the specific tools that take the friction completely out of this process. Let's walk through a typical day-in-the-life workflow for a driver. First, they get an in-app notification in real time with a brief window to tap accept or decline. If they accept, boom, robust built-in navigation, like Google Maps, takes over to guide them straight to the passenger. Along the way, the driver triggers trip actions like arriving or start trip. And at the end, the app relies on automatic fare calculation that factors in distance, base fare, and even surge pricing. This workflow is honestly brilliant because it's entirely self-contained. If a driver declines, the system just instantly forwards the request to the next closest driver. No dispatcher needed. The trip actions keep the customer in the loop automatically, and that automated fare completely removes any awkward payment disputes at the end of the ride. When we look at these apps, we can really divide the tech into core necessities versus advanced capabilities. Now, core features, those are your absolute baseline. Things like the availability button to toggle online or offline, or the ability to securely call a passenger using number masking to protect everyone's privacy. But if you want to truly optimize your fleet, you've got to look at the advanced column. Take a feature like driver destination. This lets a driver input exactly where they're heading at the end of their shift, and the system will only assign them trips along that specific route. It's a total game changer. It significantly reduces trip cancellations and keeps your drivers productive right up to the very minute they clock out. Next up is the connected dispatch ecosystem. Because, you see, it's not just about having a laundry list of features, it's about how they all interact seamlessly together. Unlike having a bunch of isolated tasks, a connected ecosystem creates a seamless experience that drastically improves dispatcher productivity and driver coordination. In an isolated system, say a driver manually checking in for a break and a dispatcher trying to route a new job, those are two completely disconnected events that are inevitably going to clash. But in a connected ecosystem, intelligent algorithms are constantly reading the supply of your drivers and the demand of your passengers in real time. They are dynamically matching trips without missing a single beat.
Here's a great example of this in action. Allowing drivers to temporarily use a pause bookings feature while simultaneously giving them pit stops info for gas stations and restrooms directly supports driver welfare without forcing them to manually decline a bunch of incoming requests. This is a massive, massive upgrade for the human side of your operation. If a driver needs to grab a quick lunch or fuel up, they just hit pause after dropping off their last passenger. They don't get penalized for ignoring alerts, and the system just intelligently routes new requests to other available drivers. Plus, the app literally points them to the nearest facilities. It's all about keeping your workforce happy, safe, and ready to perform.
Furthermore, combining heat maps with forward dispatch, which is a feature that assigns a new trip while the driver is still completing their current one, minimizes travel time to new pickups and maximizes time behind the wheel. Just think about the massive efficiency gain here. The Demand Hotspots feature analyzes supply and demand to show drivers exactly where they have the highest mathematical chance of snagging a booking. Then, Forward Dispatch uses that intelligent algorithm to send them their next job right before they even drop off their current passenger. The driver gets literally zero downtime and the passenger gets a ride way faster. That right there is the true definition of maximized fleet utilization. To really empower the drivers, the app features an earnings tab that displays daily earnings as a clear bar graph, right alongside estimated weekly payouts and daily reports on driving patterns, things like smooth braking. Look, you simply cannot grow your business unless you relentlessly focus on the driver side of the network. By providing total 100% transparency into their earnings history, including commissions and surge prices, you build immense trust. And when you add in daily reports that analyze their driving habits, giving them actionable tips to avoid harsh braking or rapid acceleration, you're not just tracking them, you are actively helping them become safer, far more efficient professionals on your platform.
All right, that brings us to delivering business impact, where we'll see what this connected ecosystem actually means for your bottom line. When you integrate customer apps, a central admin panel, and a feature-rich driver dispatch app, you get a rock-solid digital platform that delivers on every front. Faster dispatching, way better resource utilization, and totally transparent operations. By giving your operational managers an admin panel to comprehensively monitor the network, and your drivers an intuitive app to execute the work, you eliminate the manual friction that is actively bleeding your money. You achieve faster dispatch processes, which means far more jobs completed every single day. You achieve incredible transparency, so you know exactly where your resources are at any given second. And most importantly, you achieve greater scalability. You can add 10 or 10,000 drivers to the system without needing to hire an army of manual dispatchers. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want you to consider evaluating your current logistics technology against these precise capabilities. It's the only way to ensure you are truly equipped to scale. Whether you are running a taxi fleet, a delivery service, or a specialized transportation company, your success depends entirely on real-time coordination and operational visibility. Take a really hard look at your operations today and ask yourself, is your current dispatch system driving your business forward, or is it the very thing holding you back? Equipping your team with a feature-rich dispatch app isn't just some basic IT upgrade. It is a foundational strategy for survival. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and we'll catch you next time.